A happy Monday to you all. Welcome to Futbol Americas. Look, yes, he is here. He is actually here. Gab Marcotti in the studio with us. So obviously it's a special day, not only because Gab's here, Ballon d'Or. We have an official winner, Janusz MIchallik. Herculez Gomez, because Ousmane Dembele, the winner, maybe a surprise for some because we know Lamine Yamal was also in there. You were kind of pushing for Ousmane Dembele last season. Correct me if I'm wrong.
3 months ago. These awards sometimes get muddled in the opinion of the people because they want to go it's the best footballer. Well, Messi would win it every single year. It's who had the best year, and Dembele had the best year individually.
In my view, what they should do with the Ballon d'Or to make it, this is more in the Messi-Ronaldo era, just make it so that you can only win it once. And that way, we see who's got the chops, and you open it up. It's kind of like, you come and getting a membership, seeing the Walk of Fame. Yeah, because otherwise it's a popularity contest, and then the Muppets all keep voting for, or whatever. But with Dembele, I'm happy, because the way I look at it, Lamine Yamal will have many chances to win it again.
Right.
And he can compete with Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe and whatever else. Dembele is just a wonderful human story because people forget that when he was 19, 20 years old at Borussia Dortmund, people thought, oh my God, it's the future of football. Yeah. He can run, he's two-footed, he does everything. And he goes to Barcelona and he generally kind of stinks up the place. He had injuries, he had difficulties.
Discipline issues.
Major disciplinary issues. I thought, Barcelona robbed PSG blind when they got money back for him. And then he turned it all around, and he became a real leader on this young team. And so I just think it's a really wonderful human story as well.
Yeah, it's a great comeback story. If there was another prize to give him, I would give him comeback footballer of the year of the last 2 years, Janusz.
The only choice and the right choice, as you said. Borussia Dortmund are still looking for him, right? Because they didn't know where he was when he went to Barcelona. The discipline issue that you've mentioned left there. That's okay. Yamal came in his place in Barcelona. As you said, he'll probably win it on multiple occasions in the future. Came to PSG, right? I mean, sort of took the place of Mbappe. Maybe not positionally, but, that void that was left by Kylian Mbappe. The crazy story is that never, ever did I think that Dembele is going to win the Ballon d'Or before Kylian Mbappe. But here we are. I think if you look at criteria, it's the right thing because he's won everything individually. 4 trophies, almost 5 with the Club World Cup, right? And, and off the pitch, perseverance, as you guys said. I mean, where he came from to where he is, fair play.
Yeah. I don't think it would have been a big surprise if Lamine Yamal won.
I think so. He didn't win La Liga Player of the Year. He wasn't the Champions League Player of the Year. He wasn't even the Young Player of the Year in the Champions League. That was Doué. There were some players. He didn't really win much. He had La Liga assist. That was it.
I don't know. When we talk about the best footballer, like you said, it would have been Messi, but to me, it would have been Lamine Yamal. He's just outstanding.
I could make an argument that
Rafinha would have had a better shout.
Exactly.
I
can make that argument.
Number-wise, I mean, almost.
But
Lamine's a phenomenal player, but I think we give him a lot of attention.
Rafinha without Lamine Yamal, we know, has been also a different story. But anyway, I wish we had more time to talk about this. But at least for the Americas players in the 2025 Men's Ballon d'Or, here's the list as it is. Rafinha, as you have already mentioned there, Janusz and Herc. He was there for number 5. Number 16, Vinícius Jr. Number 20, Lautaro Martinez. And following close by is number 22, Alexis McAllister. You want to say something, Gab?
Just if you know how the voting works, we can totally discount anything after like the top 4 or 5 because the margins are so small that it really makes a difference. People look at this, I'm like, haha, Vini Jr. 16, that's got to be a joke, right? But ahead of Ballon d'Or Lautaro, impossible. But the reality is he probably got 1 more vote. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Pedri not in the top 10. That's criminal, by the way.
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah. As Milan, yes, is still much better than what we've seen from last season. It's only just beginning. And with his brace, Christian Pulisic reached 59 goals in Europe, surpassing now Clint Dempsey's 57 goals for the most by a USMNT player in a top 5 European squad. So this is definitely great for Christian Pulisic. We know that coming into every season, Gab, it's kind of the same question, right? Different coach. Will it still be the same Christian Pulisic? What he's showing right now is that he is, and by saying that he's keeping that still consistent level with Milan.
He's had 4 coaches and a little over 2 years, and he gets moved all around, all over the pitch, right wing, left wing, attacking midfield, and the production's always there. I don't want to get carried away with him. And you can say the U.S. men's national team right now in terms of attacking players is a low bar. But, I mean, he's the whole show. There's no... to succeed and to be so consistent in a situation like Milan, with all the issues that they've had, with the coaching chances. And by the way, it's like coaching changes and like people coming in. He's competing with Rafael Leao. He's competing with João Felix, who came in the position that was supposedly his own because Sergio Conceição thinks he knows better. And the guy always produces. And he is so appreciated, I think, by the fans and by the media and by the coaches at Milan, who he wins over very quickly, because even when he's not on, and I mean, as an attacking player, you know this, Herc, sometimes it's just not working for you. Yeah. He always gives you 10 out of 10 defensively. Yeah. He works hard. Now, people say playing alongside Rafael Leao, like, you know, he looks even better off the ball, but you saw that he created the goal by winning the ball back. He brings that positivity and that attitude, which you guys know him better than I do. He's a naturally introverted person. When he talks, he's generally kind of dull and whatever. But on the pitch, he's an absolute dervish, and this is what coaches want. And I mean, I know a guy on Allegri's staff right now, and he's like from day one. He says like, this guy's a gift. And he was actually asking me, what happened with Poch? And I said, hey man, that's all you guys. So you guys, I don't understand this. I do not understand any of this. But yeah, it's been the right place for him, and he's overcome a lot in being there.
Look, he's doing his talking on the pitch because not long ago, most of us in the media have had a go at him, right? I mean, and a serious go in terms of national team and Pochettino not being here, you know, not wanting to rest and all of that. And right now, he's Milan's best player. There's no questions about that.
And has been.
Right. I mean, it's a spark. He's decisive. You look at, you know, I mean, I look at Bologna coming off the bench, spark immediately. I look at Lecce off the bench, goal, right? Udinese, a couple goals. Bari in Coppa Italia before that, decisive. I'm going to conveniently forget that Cremonese game because he didn't do well and the entire team didn't do well. But, you know, he's in a position that he's got such momentum going in that, you know, at the moment, even the 3-5-2 that Max Allegri is playing right now, okay, Leao's going to come in, but Santi's not playing all that well. So he can play in any kind of sort of formation and do well and finds himself in that as well. So, you know, I don't always trust Max Allegri, but look, you got to give him credit because, you know, somehow he's bringing him into the team and he's answering the call. It's been tremendous.
It is so difficult for a player to go through multiple coaches, multiple schemes, tactical setups, and still be a difference maker on the field, as Gab said. When he first comes in, there were questions about his playing time. Well, he's got to compete with Chukwueze. He beats out Chukwueze. And then it's Paulo Fonseca coming in, a new coach, a new scheme. And where will he play? Well, he's not going to play on the left-hand side because you got Rafael Leao there. Rafael Leao is always going to be the man. And he plays on the right-hand side, and he's just as effective as Rafael Leao, and he's just as dependable, reliable, consistent, which I think the Milan fans really enjoyed. Sergio Conceição comes in, and as you mentioned, competing with João Felix. Why? Going to compete with João Felix, he beats him out. He beats out João Felix. He beats out anybody who's been there with a different coach. And now Maxi Allegri's here. And well, where's Christian Pulisic going to play? Because there really is no place for him. Two-striker system. And yet, when he's on the field, he is a difference maker. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, Gab, because people get lost in, we are a U.S. show, so we're going to be U.S. supporters of Christian Pulisic. When it's time to hammer Christian Pulisic or anybody else in the U.S. men's national team, we lay the hammer down. But when it's time to praise what they've done in a difficult setup, Milan today is not the Milan of yesterday. They are struggling today. He is the flag bearer for that team. But let's not forget, Milan is still a historic team. Second only to Real Madrid in European championships. They are still a very important team in European football. And he is the face of that team. And when we talk about Christian Pulisic, it's not the eye test. There are numbers to accompany this. Last year, since Christian Pulisic has been there, his numbers comparable with Lookman and Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro Martinez is one of the best players in Serie A and constantly one of the players that's being nominated for the Ballon d'Or on the short list in the 30. He is constantly there. The numbers are there again. He is a player that has goals to his name and assists. And if we can go back to the Clint Dempsey stat, he's 27 years of age, and he's already blown out the all-time leading goal scorer of the U.S. men's national team at the club setting, in a top 5 league, in a setup, a high-pressure setup like AC Milan, he's going to be the best American player that's ever played the game by the time it's said and done. He's done that at the club level. There are no doubts in my mind. Next is the national team. And you mentioned that they don't know what's going on with Mauricio Pochettino. A lot of us don't know what's going on with Pochettino. Because last time we were here, you told me that Paulo Fonseca's coaching staff values him. It seems everybody who Christian Pulisic plays for values the kid.
So who's the problem is the question.
Well, look, I mean, it's also last year. I think it's well documented. He had a phase where he had to play with through pain. He had to play with painkillers, which is why part of the reason why he asked to take the decision that he asked, which so incensed Pochettino. Maybe Pochettino didn't know. I don't know, but I mean, I get the attitude from Poch about it's like you see a gang. Let me go and punch the biggest, toughest guy in the face to establish that I'm the boss here. Yeah. Bro, you can do that if you have 4 or 5 Pulisic's to choose from. But until Gio Reyna can show that he can walk, he can play again at any semblance of that, which he's far away from, you have nobody else. Mm-hmm. And I say this with the greatest respect to Ballon coming back after his injury and Hodge Wright and whoever you want to wheel out. But to question him and his attachment, it just seemed so like he was barking up like the wrong tree in such a bizarro way. And yeah, I mean. Enough Pulisic. He's not perfect, but I think he's, like you said, like Janusz said before, he shows his talking on the pitch. He was in a situation last year, by the way. We would show up at Milan in front of 60,000, 70,000 people, and the whole stadium is shouting to the owner, basically against the owner, telling him to sell the club. They're going after the players. They're attacking the players, attacking Theo Hernandez, Jerry Cardinal, all these people constantly. And amidst all that chaos, cool as a cucumber, he does his thing.
Back to something you said in the beginning here, Gab, because you said this is the right place for him. Do you expect a significant contract extension or enough for Milan to show that, hey, we see you, we recognize you, we value you?
I mean, that has more to do with Milan. Obviously, they had contract talks and they kind of put them on hold. This is a club where right now the impetus has been about breaking even. I don't think Jerry, we know he doesn't have the liquidity to even buy the club outright because he had to borrow the money from Gordon Singer, from Elliott before, and he's paying it back in chunks. This is how he bought the club. So until that changes, they're not going to push the boat out. I think from his perspective, he sits, he has a good season, maybe he does something at the World Cup, and then somebody rocks up with a big number, then I think he would have to consider it. And I'm not saying Milan would push him out the door, but Milan would say, well, we can't match that, do what's best for you. Because right now they cannot go and match that.
Yeah, doesn't really depend on what he wants at the moment. But I mean, if Milan knows what's right for them, maybe they should push here for Christian Pulisic. But they have other priorities. Let's talk about his U.S. men's national team teammate as well, Weston McKennie. I know we talked about him last week as well. It seems that he's cooling off and just taking his time on the bench, not seeing a lot of minutes. And this is maybe something that we expected. We know that sometimes it has been talked about McKennie, a possible move here in the summer to Roma, but now staying here ultimately with Juventus. It was a 1-1 draw this weekend against Hellas. What do you make of the whole Weston McKennie situation with Juventus specifically?
He got a ton of criticism after he came over, some of the things that happened during COVID. I think sometimes, there's a sense, I think his physical appearance as well, stories about junk food, whatever, all this stuff, which may be unverified, maybe unfair, on teams that were a mess and were underachieving. Juventus were a mess last season. When they went down that weirdo Thiago Motta rabbit hole. And now he's in a situation, obviously he's a high earner at the club still, and the club are kind of extending his contract to kind of spread his salary a little bit. If he shows that he can be useful, I think they'll keep him. He does not have a starting spot on this team. He can't have a starting spot because of obviously Locatelli and Kefren Turam, and Koop Miners will have to play him. I mean, they spent a ton of money on him, and really he needs to play further away from the goal because they have so many weapons up front. So then we see wingback McKennie. I don't know if that's the best version of McKennie, but it is what it is right now. He's ready when called upon. is it the ideal build-up to a World Cup? You can see it both ways. One is he doesn't have the same levels of responsibility, but he'll probably be well rested when the World Cup comes around.
Yeah.
But certainly he's not central to the plan at Juve.
I feel like we have this talk every year, Gab, you and I, about Weston McKennie not being an important player for Juventus, and yet every year he ends up winning the spot. And MIchallik, at one point, he was just covering behind Cristiano Ronaldo, playing defensively, and then ends up last year was playing a number 10 spot, I believe, last time we were here sitting around, and he was scoring goals against City in the Champions League, and he ended up having the year before last a record, setting year in terms of assist, and he's a player that always contributes, but it's never in a set position. It's right wing back. It's on the right-hand side. Is as number 10. But he's on the field and he's playing. And every year that Juventus wants to get rid of him, they end up extending him even more. I don't know what the financial implications are for Juventus.
I do know. That's why they keep extending him. He makes way too much money. He won't take a pay cut, and so they have to give him more years.
But they keep paying him, and they keep playing him. And that's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like we have the same conversation about Weston McKennie every single year. And right now, we're worried. Year's going to finish, and if I'm a betting man, I'm going to bet Weston's going to play a good amount of games and earn his stripes again.
But he also has to be consistent. Gab is right, in terms of a contract, of course. But, remember, as you said, all those coaches, they always doubt him, right? Thiago Motta came in. There was a little bit of doubt in the beginning. Remember Thiago Motta later on? He says, you can't play without McKennie.
Yeah.
He's the first one on my team.
And then
sheet,
Thiago
right?
Motta gets fired.
Right. But the thing about that is that we have to put something on Weston McKennie as well, because he needs to focus. As you mentioned, the rumors are not about, his fitness and all of that, where he's going to be. Every season is the same story. Where is he going to play? Is he going to play? Of course he's good enough. I just watched that game against Inter. And, oh, by the way, it was 4-3. And Weston McKennie was perhaps one of the best players on the pitch. Because you know what? Denzel Dumfries didn't play in that game.
He did very well against him.
And I don't remember many games in the last year or two that Denzel Dumfries, played as bad as he did on that one. Because
do you want him to play left wing?
No, and that's the story.
It's not productive for him.
Find focus within yourself, and maybe, just maybe, if you can pick a team where you kind of find a home, I suppose, because it almost seems like he is a man without a home.
I just feel like Gab's onto something when you talk about his appearance, and it feels like because he looks a little chubby, people they put him in this category of he's lazy, he lacks discipline, he doesn't work. He came in with the COVID issue. He also had the gambling issue that he wasn't directly tied to, but his name was involved. There are all these little issues that keep his name muddled, and then we go back to his appearance. In a setting like Calcio, where footballers tend to be a little bit more on the discipline side, he does stand out. But he's a player that when you see him on the field, we never question the discipline. We never question the commitment or the fitness. It's with the U.S. men's national team that we've questioned the fitness coming in those camps. I don't think I've questioned it with Juventus.
But then who do we point the finger to? Because it seems like it's on Weston McKennie, but it's not on Weston McKennie. There's a lot of coaching changes at Juventus as well, but they still play him and it's different positions. Gab, I mean, who's failing Weston McKennie right now?
So ideally, when he had the opportunity to leave, even if it meant taking less money elsewhere, in the perfect world, you would have said, all right, what's best for you and your career as a footballer? Go somewhere else where you're going to start and you will be at the center of the project. You're a central midfielder. Juventus have other central midfielders who they put ahead of you because, and probably rightly so, right? So go somewhere else. Now that said, it's very easy for me to say this. My career lasts a long time. He's a footballer. Yeah. We have two professional footballers here. You guys know how much money you're prepared to leave on the table when you could suffer career-ending injury at any point. And so I'm not going to fault him or his agents or whoever's advising him for making that decision.
But we can, because when he did make that move, that's when it went wrong for him. That's the one place I did question his fitness, was at Leeds. When he made the move to Leeds with Jesse Marsch, that's the one place where he was heavily criticized, and it was known he came in out of shape. I've not seen him out of shape. Weston McKennie has plenty of blame to go around. Mm-hmm. These things follow him around for a reason. But at Juventus, if I'm going to point the finger at anybody, I don't know if it's Weston McKennie. He's always proven himself there.
Well, it's also, to be fair, I mean, Jesse Marsch plays as like some psychotic, speeded up level. Juventus,
High pressure, yes.
yeah, it's certainly a much blander
Yeah.
pace, even on even now with Tudor, let alone Thiago Motta. So maybe that's less of an issue for him. Maybe you could point to that as well.
I like the fact, that he continues to prove Juve wrong. And Juve are guilty of that as well, right? Because, look at Juve. We'll probably talk about Vlahovic as well. Another player. They want it out.
Yeah.
Get out. Now all of a sudden scores a couple of goals. Vlahovic is the best thing since the sliced bread. You've won it before. You're going to win it again. And then when the season's over, World Cup's over, if you have a good World Cup, as you said about Pulisic, perhaps now the money issues are not going to be there.
Yeah, Janusz, you mentioned Vlahovic. We're going to go there right now in this comparison with Jonathan David. I know that he was highly praised on Futbol Americas here last week, and he should with the level that we're seeing from somebody like him as well now with this team in Juventus and maybe trying to break that spot. Vlahovic was the starter this weekend. JD, as I put him in my notes, played 20 minutes. He has 1 goal, 1 assist in 4 games this season. Gab, when it's a Jonathan David versus Vlahovic, do you understand the decision to see Vlahovic right now starting at least what we saw this weekend?
Vlahovic is on fire, and I'm going to just please be very clear. Vlahovic, for those who don't know, signed a contract with a weird monster escalator in his final 2 years. He is making, because we like, we're all Anglophiles here, so we all like it in pounds per week. If he were in the Premier League, he would be the second highest paid player in the Premier League, behind Erling Haaland, right? He is not worth £400,000 a week in excess of that, right? And so that's why Juve, they got a year left, they can't extend him, you don't want to take a pay cut. That's why they tried to move him in the summer. Because Vlahovic is a bad rep, maybe because it's his agent, maybe because, big athletic center forwards who don't play athletic all the time get a bad rep, whatever reason, clubs that had the money to take him decided to screw around with Sescos and Gyökereses and whatever, which, ended up costing roughly the same, right?
Yes.
Mateus freaking Cunha is older, and Brian Mbeumo, they're older than Vlahovic, right?
Yeah,
It makes 0 sense to me. But, so he's staying, and Juve is saying, right, well, let's play him because he's productive, and he's been productive. He's come off the bench, he scored goals. I have no worries about Jonathan David. My only concern for Juve is they have too many weapons up front, right? Because he plays this 3-4-2-1 system. If Vlahovic is your center forward, Kenan Yildiz is the best player on the team, maybe in Serie A, so he needs to be one of the 2 spots behind him. And then you've got 1 spot for David, for Luis Openda, who was very prolific a couple years ago, for Chico Conceição, who's been starting. Maybe that's what makes it a little trickier.
And you spent 0 on Jonathan David. He's a free transfer.
But he has the big contract because he's a free transfer. So I wouldn't worry, if I'm Jonathan David, I wouldn't worry about the playing time. It'll come, you'll fit in the team. And I think he's been he's a really good signing for you.
I 100% agree, because you can't compare them. 2 different players. But sometimes you play with a 9 like Vlahovic, right? Bigger, stronger,
Big
taller
profile.
in a way. And sometimes Jonathan David is going to be one, as you mentioned.
And he can play as a 10 as well.
Jonathan David,
you have 2 10s.
He's a guy that feels very
You have 2
comfortable
10s behind.
Yes.
You can play Jonathan David there. You can play, Conceição. You're talking about Coppa Italia. You're talking about Serie A. You're talking about Champions League. These players will play. I think they overthought that just a little bit, because correct me if I'm wrong, and I was going to check that I didn't till the end, because Openda came in when the season started,
He came in at the very end.
because they thought Vlahovic was going to go. They're going to get Openda. Jonathan David came in as well. So the puzzle was a little bit different. Now all of a sudden Vlahovic stays, and now Vlahovic scores goals late. So everything's back to, you have an extra player there. But I think they'll all be fine.
When you're a goal scorer, they're going to come in bunches. I'm not too worried about Jonathan David because I think he's an overall better footballer. In terms of being a better goal scorer, Vlahovic is going to get his due. And if you look at the numbers, what the numbers are telling me is one player's coming off the bench when the game is open, like we saw at Dortmund, and they're throwing all caution to the wind, and you have to attack. But if you're trying to be in a good tactical setup as a coach, I often think Jonathan David is going to play more times than Vlahovic will in that type of setting. But Vlahovic is a big profile. He's a good striker, and he's feeling it right now. If I'm Jonathan David, I'm learning, I'm soaking it in, and I'm hoping that Juventus gets a little bit better, and maybe this weekend against Napoli, you can show what you got.
Yeah, 0 alarms for Jonathan David, especially with what he's been showing both at club and, of course, in country. I know we talked about that. There are 2 sides, obviously, to this story, right? There's Vinny's side, there's Xavi's side, and there's the truth. I think on one side, because I know we kind of like to jump on Vinny as well. I'm not saying everybody here, but I know in general, because of the reputation that he has, Gab. But Xavi said something. One, he said that he was happy with the game that Vinny had done. And he said, well, he's angry because he's passionate about it. How do you see it?
I mean, I think more broadly, Xabi Alonso is a system coach, right? The last two managers at Real Madrid were player coaches in Ancelotti and Zinedine Zidane. And, you know, they're pragmatists and said, all right, well, let's let this talented guys figure things out. Xabi Alonso's in a very different position. He hadn't achieved everything that Zidane Ancelotti has when he arrived. So if he has to make his mark, right now he has a leverage. And look, there's no question that this guy's an issue for Real Madrid because he is not as consistently productive as his salary says he should be. And Xabi Alonso wants wingers who work, and it's just not his thing. And that's why, you know, in the summer, Real Madrid were, obviously, it's an open secret. Rodrigo was kind of like, hey, interest in the guy? No. Now I think it's telling that Xabi Alonso feels so empowered that Mastantuono's ripping it up. So what do? I move Rodrigo to where he's best, which is on the left, and he can compete with Vini for playing time. Because Vini hasn't shown me that he can do the work off the ball. He hasn't played badly. I mean, he won the penalty when he came on the other day, but he just doesn't do it. It's very obvious, especially when you see him in person. He's a guy, he stands around. And this is before you get into the other stuff, winding up defenders, you know, getting into other issues. So that's the difficulty. And you know, there's a contractual situation bubbling in the background as well. The extensions are on, you know, supposedly both sides agreed to freeze the contract talks. It's never both sides. Why would his side not want to talk about his contract, right? Real Madrid have all the leverage right now. And I think he's going to have to learn to work in the system, or he can not work in the system, rest, score a bunch of goals against Murcia and whatever, and then come the World Cup, have a monster World Cup, and then he's going to have a year left, and then maybe he can write his ticket somewhere else. And it might not be at Real Madrid.
Right. That work goes for everybody. This is Xavi Alonso's system. There have only been, I believe, 4 players that play every minute, 5 players that have started every game, and that's Courtois. We're talking about Tchouaméni, Valverde, Carreras, and Kylian Mbappé. Everybody else has been rotated in and out. Don't forget, Rodrigo, during the Club World Cup, he wasn't even playing. He played one game, you're done. Yeah. It was Gonzalo who was playing. Yep. So it seems to be he's trying to create competition in all spots. And Xabi Alonso even said, hey, it's going to happen to Mbappe as well. I need to create this competition. Now, we can sit here and say that he's been unhappy or a bad sport, but all we're hearing are reports that he's unhappy, are reports that he's been a bad sport. I see the video, and I'm seeing a video of any player who doesn't want to come out of a game. A game, by the way, that he was playing very well in. Yeah, every time he was 1v1, he would zoom by his player. He had an opportunity where he gave it to Kylian Mbappe. Kylian misses a very good opportunity. He gave the assist to Kylian Mbappe. He seems to be doing work, seems to be doing danger in the brief times that he's played, because he's also started quite a few games. He's done well. He shows you why he's there. When he's come off the bench, he's not sulked. He's done well. Comes off the bench against Oviedo, and he creates a goal and scores his own. There's more of the liking for me of a contract negotiation. I think that's where he's not happy. And I think that's where Florentino, of all people, this is great, because now I could get him at a lower price and eventually sell if I want to, even greater.
And what you're saying about, we don't know, like apparently he's unhappy. If the stories are, if you see them appear in Marca Nas,
yes, you know who they're from.
It's a safe bet that they're club-approved stories. So whether he's unhappy or not, certainly the club are not displeased with stories of him being unhappy.
Okay, if he's not happy at Real Madrid, where is he going to be happy? I'm kind of with you, I think, both on that one. Xabi Alonso knows how to get players better, right? I mean, look at Mbappe. You can already tell defensively he's doing much more work, because that's what's required in the system of Xabi
Luis
Alonso.
Enrique wanted him to do.
You have to do it. And you know, I'm not saying that Vinny Jr. is bad, but he can get better. Look, I think 2 goals, 2 assists right now. Doesn't matter in La Liga for Vinny Jr. He's not used to this. This was his team. Now it's Mbappe's. And remember when Mbappe first came in, we're like, how is he going to play number 9? My goodness. He's learned. We can talk about Ousmane Dembele. It took him a little bit to mature, right? And Vinny Jr., if you just watch him, even at his best, last season or the season before, right? You could sense it, that he enjoyed the fact that was his team. So maybe he just takes a little bit taking used to. Maybe Xabi Alonso probably already said, listen, this is about a team, because we know how Xabi Alonso operates. The competition's got to be there. Leverkusen is a great example where he's played and rotated all the time. That's what he's going to do here. I do think if he takes on this challenge, Vinny Jr., we're going to be talking about Vinny Jr. at his best, like we've seen it before.
I'd also throw in, since Xabi Alonso is a big believer in kind of like the right-hand chain, left-hand chain, the fact that Carreras, who, let's face it, is a winger impersonating a left-back, right? Maybe with
Grimaldo was for him.
Maybe with Ferland Mendy, maybe it's maybe there's more of a tolerance of Vini not tracking back. There's more of a tolerance of maybe not making certain movements because you've got Mendy behind, possibly. I'm giving Vini an out here.
Yeah. And Chiringuito, by the way, you mentioned Marca and AS. And Chiringuito saying that he's leaving in January, by the way. At least they're
But he has no market. I'm sorry, seriously, honestly, like, who
He had
would
a market in
Who
Saudi
would
Arabia.
want?
350 in Saudi
Yeah,
Arabia.
that's what they keep saying, and like all those numbers, and then you look, you scratch a little bit, and then you see that it's.
What's the real reason behind it?
But he's turned them down, and I think I don't blame him. He's got a World Cup coming up.
Yeah.
Right, and it's important to him. And if you want to go to a club of, I want to say, equal stature to Real Madrid, because my Madridista friends are telling me there is no club equal stature to Real Madrid. But even next year down, there's nobody. The clubs that can afford him don't want him. That's the simple reality of it. So then you got to go 2 tiers down, and then might as well stay, take my chances, World Cup, and then free agency a year later.
Yeah, it's kind of sad to see him in this situation. He's so talented. We won't get into it. We know Julian Alvarez wasn't happy either. They will face each other this weekend in La Liga in the Madrid Derby. We are looking forward to that. Saturday, 10:15 a.m. kick. Eastern time at least, streaming live on the app and ESPN Plus. We hate to say goodbye, but we will see you later. Gab, thank you so much for stopping by. Invitation's always open, sir. All right, let's take it back stateside. A little MLS action for you. Inter Miami facing DC United. Luis Suarez on the sidelines still serving that suspension, but enjoying his mate, enjoying these views too. The 35th minute. Leo Messi sending Tadeo Allende there, Janusz.
Do they give Ballon d'Or for assists? I mean, look at this. I mean, that's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
unreal.
doesn't even have to take a touch. There's a look from behind. I don't know if we have it, we don't have it, but I mean, what a player. People were telling me, in MLS, there's no pressure on the ball. Listen, to give a pass like this is unbelievable.
52nd
Benteke, by the
minute,
way.
Benteke, yep, heading it in.
Yeah, Benteke knows how to put in a header, but if you're watching Tua, take notes. That's how you play.
Oh, come on. Low blow, 0-3 Dolphins. Let's take it to 66th minute. Jordi Alba finding Messi, slots it away, Herc.
Yeah, look at the view right here. Gets his head up, sees the goalkeeper. He knows exactly where he wants to put it. Gives him the hips, a little bit of the eyes, and then the back of the net.
Let's take it to the 70th minute. Matteo Silvetti through, but brought down by the keeper there, Janusz. So penalty
Again,
for Miami.
Messi involved, but not involved in this one, right? We thought that maybe Messi's going to step up and take the penalty, but the youngster, 19-year-old, gets it from Messi, and guess what?
Yeah, he really wanted to drill that in, but hey, you got to take the opportunity. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Wayne Gretzky, a.k.a. Michael Scott.
Nice one.
85th minute. Herc knows exactly what I'm talking about.
involved,
Lionel
isn't
Messi, a wonderful strike from distance, Janusz.
Come on. Still, I mean, yeah, okay.
Which side do you think he wants to go to? What side do you think he wants to go to, Janusz?
Look,
Give him his left foot. Are you serious?
Pressure is suspect in Major
Let him
League
go
Soccer.
inside.
No, it doesn't matter. You let him go inside. He goes on
Take
the
your
outside.
chances inside.
Nah, you don't take chances with Messi. He does what he wants.
Exactly. He does whatever he wants. A good goal here, though, from Jacob Morel. Gets one back in the final minutes. Not enough, though. Inter Miami wins this one at 3-2. And Javier Mascherano was still talking about those games that they have on hand, still with 28 games played, but still in 5th place and climbing some of these spots with 52 points. And again, still some games at hand. So it seems like they're well positioned right now. Lionel Messi wanted to put in a interesting position there for Silvetti. We'll get into that in a second. But what do you make of Inter Miami as of late here, Herc? We know it was kind of tough coming out of the Leagues Cup, but they seem to be on a good run right now.
Yeah, especially at home. They're a team that knows exactly how to play when they're at home in those confines with that weather. Messi, and I mean no disrespect to the Major League Soccer defenders, but he makes them look just amateur. He makes these guys on a weekly basis just look like they've playing the game for the first time in their lives. He does what he wants. He gets the ball. He goes, as Janusz said, you take him to his left. Don't let him go to his left. Let him go to his right. He's still going to do you any way he wants. He's got vision. He's got a finishing touch. He seems to be taking the team on his shoulders, all that pressure, all the responsibility, and he's getting away with it at 38 years of age, which I am amazed. It's not just the goals that he's scoring right now, leading MLS, by the way. It's what he's been doing since he got here in big moments, and the way he's sending people, in Fort Lauderdale home happy. You pay your money to watch Lil Messi, you're going to get your money's worth. That's what it's been for Major League Soccer with Lil Messi in it.
Listen, you mentioned getting away from it, and I every time I talk about this on shows, or Twitter, whatever it is, people say, oh, MLS this, MLS that, defenders this and that. Look, Lil Messi, you put him on Barcelona right now, he's going to be doing the same thing. One of the few players where everybody else will work extra hard for him not to run. I mean, he was doing that towards the end of his career, and everything else is still in place. Nothing's changed. If anything, sometimes I think it's getting better. I mean, I looked at that and says, I mean, seriously, you can please do take a look at it. There's a look from behind, the way that ball curves, and Allende comes in, doesn't even have to touch it. This is 40-yard pass. I am a fan, but not a fanboy of him. I understand what he can or cannot do. But I mean, the man is unbelievable. So look, the story is, I mean, he bounces. Remember last show, I was 100% sure they were going to beat Seattle after what happens in Leagues Cup, because he was going to get mad. What did he do? He got mad, right? You see this right now. I look at NYCFC away, and I look at Toronto, who's out of the picture right now. Not easy, but get a win and a draw, no problem. Then we're talking about Miami at home. 3 games at home. Chicago, Revs that are out, and Atlanta. That's where they're going to make the run. And most likely, I don't know if it's going to be enough to finish top of that division, but certainly very close to that, if not second. It all depends on the next 2 away games. But look, he, against Charlotte, bad penalty, and he kind of probably knew, and you see the end product here. Against DC United team, that's not very good.
They'll have Luis Suarez back after the next game. And Janusz, you know this very well. Major League Soccer may be a lot of things, and people will say technically, tactically here. If anything, this league has proven to be physically capable, and he is making physically capable defenders look incapable. Yeah,
absolutely. And we know that he's there also to mentor some of the younger players. And it's an interesting move, but we're going to ask both of you if you're cool with Lionel Messi giving the opportunity to his Argentine compatriot and youngster Matteo Silvetti to take the PK. Herc, what do you think of it?
I'm cool with it. Listen, Matteo Silvetti is a 19-year-old reinforcement that's been in the U.S., in Miami, for a little over a week, who is playing with his idol, Messi, who is from Newell's Old Boy, Rosario, the same place Messi's at. His dream is to play with Messi. He gets a through ball, guess from who? Messi. Gets brought down in the box, and Messi, who ends up this game with 2 goals, and maybe takes that penalty kick, would have gotten a hat trick, and the sole league lead of goals, decides to let this 19-year-old kid shoot the penalty kick. In a time where we've seen the bad of Messi, of what he reportedly said to Obed Vargas, what he reportedly said to Pedro de la Vega, the antics of Inter Miami, to see this and bring us back to the humility of Messi, to the good Messi, to the Messi that we've witnessed for the better part of 2 decades. And to see it at this level, I'm okay with it. I think Messi's okay with it, and I don't think there's any skin off his back.
Normally, I would say no. No, because he's Leo Messi. He's the leader of the team.
Coming after missing a penalty kick.
Bad penalty. And after that, Charlotte almost immediately went, and I mean, it was a bad result, and Inter Miami looked bad, and so Leo Messi. Leo Messi in that game looked horrible by his lofty standards. The guy makes $20 million a year in this league. At the moment, score, I think it was 2-1. I
Yep,
hope I'm
it
right
was,
in this
it was.
one.
Yeah.
2-1.
Put it away. You know what it means. But I'm going to take this at face value because I really do think, he said, that guy, just got here, 19 years old. I mean, if he scores that goal, imagine how he grows, right? Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
And this is Leo Messi kind of allowing you to. So I'll never get into his head. I don't know what he was thinking. I certainly don't think that Leo Messi, because he missed against Charlotte, didn't want to take it. But for those reasons, I said no initially because I said, hey, you missed against Charlotte, go get it. You, Leo Messi, you're the leader. But I think it's okay that the 19-year-old took it. Too bad he missed it.
Yeah.
But of course, in the end, Leo Messi had 2 goals and an assist.
He's got a good story to tell his friends and
100
family.
That's exactly what I
It's
was.
no longer about
that's
missing the
exactly where
penalty.
my mind went.
You know,
swear.
when he's 30, the young guy is going to say, he's not going to say, I missed it. He says,
Yeah.
you know what, Leo Messi, let me take it.
Yeah, and then people
How
will
he
say,
sticks with it.
and you missed it. Oh, how could you? But no, I want to think that the reaction with Messi and with Silvetti himself coming together and saying like, hey, no problem, just take a breath next time. Don't think about it too much. It's still that opportunity for advice. And Lionel Messi was the one who started that by giving him the penalty. So he was short because Messi doesn't have anything to prove anymore. He was short of the hat trick. Like you said, here's someone who wasn't short of a hat trick. Let's take it to LAFC taking on Real Salt Lake. As you mentioned, Herc, Carlos Vela, Knights. Charlie. All of this that he deserves, of course, his wife alongside him. Hey, the eternal number 10 as he deserves it. 14th minute, a quick corner here for Real Salt Lake. Brian Mera scoring. This is a bullet.
That's a golazo. And guess what?
And that's all she wrote because
That's
then
as good as it got.
It was just Bwanga and Son. Isn't it like just Bwanga and Son scoring goals for LAFC the whole
It's not
season?
LAFC, it's Bwanga and Son. That's it.
Well, at
And
least
there
they
you go.
had that moment.
Combination. Bwanga with his first, human Son involved. I mean, what a start to his career in Major League Soccer in LAFC. I'm talking about Son. Look at this. Nice.
Yeah, but Bwanga just feeding off of Sonny there. And then look at Sonny. I want in on the action as well. Give it to him.
Left-footed
Come
too,
on.
huh? Off the post.
Mío. With the left foot off the post. I mean,
He's
just
a happy guy.
maybe want to pressure him.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I don't know. You at least want to think about
But
pressuring.
look at that. I mean, that's quality.
That's
man.
clinical.
Oh, was that weaker foot?
It's
Yes.
clinical.
And
Let's
then
take
there's
it.
Bwanga again. I mean, this is a good combination
72nd
play.
minute.
I mean,
Third
he's not
man
gonna miss that.
running.
Whoop,
Little
whoop.
chip. Denny.
LAFC getting
Denny
the right
Bwanga.
moment.
I mean, this is when you're just in the zone. The goal looks like a rainbow. There's so much space. He's not going to miss. Celebrate with Charlie Candle.
That was never coming back or something. I mean, that's all I see.
87th minute, LAFC on the attack again and again. It was Denny Bwanga to put a bow.
Yeah, just look at
on
the
his
freedom
hat.
between the
This
two
is a good
players.
ball
I
in.
mean, yeah, but you got to see that before, right? I
mean,
mean,
it's
he could have received that ball, touched it 3 or 4 times. So, I mean, this is where defending, I mean, on that last goal, was bad. I'm not saying the other one wasn't, but this in particular was really bad defending there.
I mean, we have to really tip our hat, not our cap here for Denny Bwanga with the hat tricks that he's had. It's 2 hat tricks in 3 games, and with a consecutive seasons with 20-plus goals, he is right up there. And look at the company that he is keeping on that list. Names like Lionel Messi, Zlatan, Joseph Martinez, and David Villa. And by the way, he has 3 consecutive seasons. So
Only
Yes.
Joseph Martinez has 1, though. That's the difference.
They know how to pick attacking players, though, no? LAFC, historically?
are you saying our graphic is incorrect?
No, it's a great graphic of scoring goals, but only King Joseph Martinez, has won the league when his goals, those 20-plus season goals.
Oh, has 1. I thought you said he has 1. I was like,
One.
With
wait,
Atlanta.
no? Okay, 1, as in won the title.
Almiron was good, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almiron, that's when Tata Martino was
Yeah.
Tata Martino before he was Tata Martino.
Oh, come on, don't do him like
Look what
that.
happened to Atlanta.
Yes.
Tata Martino, and anyway, catching some shrapnel there. But what we're seeing from LAFC, and I know you guys raved about this connection, but Denny Bwanga, it seems like he's finally having his moment, this recognition, and you add Heung-min Son there with him and a little bit more.
I don't know about finally having his moment. For the longest time, he was the only direct and clear and obvious danger that LAFC had. I think it's very evident, it's obvious how they feed off each other and how well they're playing with each other. 3 games, 3 hat tricks, 2 for Denny Bwanga, 1 for for Sonny there. They're feeding off each other very well. It's a great player, an explosive player who's finding all kinds of space because of the attention that Son is going to attract. And when he finds himself in this type of moment, this type of movement, he's going to kill you. I find the scheduling very interesting for Major League Soccer. I don't understand it. Somebody in stats will have to correct me if I'm wrong, but this could be the first time that a team has played a team back-to-back and two players have gotten a hat trick. Now, Salt Lake has been on the receiving end of 2-4-1 score lines and two players that have had a hat trick. So these are the quirks of Major League Soccer. But right now, heading into what could potentially be the MLS Cup playoffs, but if I look at what LAFC is doing, the identity they have found, how vertical they can be, how explosive they are, and the difference makers they have in Son and Denny Bwanga, I would easily say they are the hottest team heading into the playoffs right now. And if you've got an informed Denny Bwanga who overtakes Carlos Vela for the all-time goal-scoring lead in LAFC history on Carlos Vela night, and Son, who just seems to be worth every single cent they have spent on him, that's a dangerous team right now.
They've done this over the years. They know how to pick the players in the attack, right? I mean, this is not the first time it was Carlos Vera, it was Arango who was scoring a lot of goals. Diego Rossi, remember the first time before he went to Columbus, Brian Rodriguez. So I mean, this is not new. Bogusz, the Polish international, who was pitching in when they had no number 9.
Oliveira.
And also Oliveira. So this is something that LAFC do a very good job in terms of recognizing and finding players to fit their system, an attacking system that everybody wants to watch. It's a little bit different now because Bwanga actually is going from strength to strength because, I thought, and there were talks that he may leave, right? And he was such a good, had a good season last year where I thought that maybe he's going to try to look for that next step, like the others that I've mentioned who are no longer there, right? So I think this is superb, but, that combination, as you mentioned, if it was just Bwanga, right?
Yeah.
You don't get excited about Bwanga and Bogusz maybe as much as you get excited about Sonny and Bwanga and this one. So and Porteous, the center back, that came over, settled them defensively.
Right about LAFC historically picking good players, attacking options. They do that, but under Steve Cherundolo, they became, especially this season, predictable and bland, and a product that I quite frankly didn't enjoy to watch. They were rough on the eyes. They are now must-see TV. I think their own fans would tell you this. This season, when Steve Cherundolo announced he'd be leaving at the end of this season, there was crazy, a lot of despair.
Which was crazy, by the way, for me.
Yeah, for his own personal reasons and him wanting to go back.
No. What was crazy, and you saw that maybe early in the season watching LAFC, is that I'm not a big fan of saying ahead of the season if you coach that you're leaving. His reasons are right, whatever they are, right? But to me, when a coach tells me, such advance, there's so many ways you can say, coach, leave. You know what I mean? I just did not think that knowing that the manager is leaving, I'm going to see this version of LAFC this late in the season. I have many doubts about that.
I didn't have too many doubts. John Thornton is probably one of the best in the business.
Yeah,
and this summer they were talking about, Griezmann, and it ended up being Sonny. So.
Yeah.